Chikamoni, you have a quick thought very quickly on what we heard so far before we take this break?
Yeah, Daniel, I said before that I've had opportunities to engage in the insurance industry professionals. And for me, I say this as a major opportunity for them to win back the trust of the insuring public. And I hope that people can ride on this platform to, advertise, what you people do. As I said before, you and me know that insurance penetration in Nigeria is, depending on where you read, less than 1%. And so this is an opportunity for you guys to build confidence that insurance works, and insurance will give you peace of mind.
Definitely. I'm sure you're not disappointed that the banks would have had the weekend and all of that to move on, to move repair workers in very quickly this morning, hitting the ground, the rebuilding that we're talking about. So that brings us to the question of the role of banks in the entire financial system, in the economic intermediation, financial intermediation, in ensuring there is wealth creation, in ensuring that everybody gets something out of the country, as it were.
At the time, the red flag was on the banks in Nigeria because it was seen as the greater society was struggling, where banks were declaring super profits, supernormal profits. And so even at a time when the economy was in recession, banks were like, pushing out big profits. But, with that image, has been watered down subsequently. Because if you go through the annual report of most banks now and look through their social responsibility columns, you find the amount of money they push out to the society. A lot of them have been involved in, pushing out, doing things for the society in different ways.
Yeah, their contributions to this COVID-19.
I wasn't even going to come to that. Apart from the fact that they're one of the highest employers of labor in the country.
And one of the best paying.
And the best paying. And also the value chain. The providers of service for the banking industry are many. Whether it's the ATMs that have been spoiled now, they're going to buy new ATMs.
The artisans,
the
painters,
the drivers, the workers. So many people provide services to the banking industry. You also do recall that recognizing the limitations of the government revenue shortfalls, the banking industry led the COVID, and that raised so much money to build, isolation centers, and then, also provided palliatives, which now and because the banking industry didn't have the platform to move these palliatives around the country.
And one of the banks is even putting about 50 billion on the table.
They had to ride on the infrastructure estates to push out these palliatives. But we're seeing what is happening now to those palliatives.
But again, don't let us forget that the central bank sat down with the banks and asked them to readjust the debts owed by customers and negotiate on a one-on-one basis. And this is hundreds of billions, if not trillions of naira that's been pushed forward. So with this to happen to the banks...
I also want to push out there. One of the major challenges, or one of the major issues, or if somebody wanted to put a yellow card to the banks, that's been the support for the SMEs. That's a lot of people have said that it's not so easy for people to work into the banking industry and get loans, credits. But the banks also recognize that, and down the line, a lot of them started pushing out retail credits. So individuals could actually, on their phone, get money from the banks, and that was working. And then some of the banks now, I think one of the banks has pushed out 50 billion naira. Access Bank.
Interest-free.
Interest-free loan. Access Bank has pushed that. I'm sure that a lot of banks are going to, follow that. I have a feeling also that this is a frontier change for the banks. This has happened now. A lot of banks are also going to go in and say, how much more, how else can we support the society? And ride on the back of the kind of thing Access Bank has done to push out money, create employment for people, and then create more wealth for the nation.
Do you think the central bank should be having a meeting with the Bankers Committee anytime soon?
Yeah, I believe so, because of the fact that, remember I told you, that central bank sent out a framework for the banks to complete, over the weekend to dimension their losses. I have a feeling that that will be discussed in the next Bankers Committee. In addition to the implicit message in these riots, and what can we learn from the riots, and how can we help to make sure that they don't happen again. So that, as Ruth said, so that level of anger and level of poverty is reduced, so that when people see bank buildings, the glittering bank buildings, they're not, tempted to throw stones on it and see the banks as part of their enemies of society.
Rather than partners.
Rather than partners.
Chika Mbonu, thank you so much. Arise Business Analyst.